Today I'm going to teach you how to play Demon Hunter's new single, Black Stained Glass. So the tuning is going to be E flat, B flat, G flat, D flat, A flat, and then E flat. And then once you're in that tuning, we're ready to go.
Before we continue with the lesson, if you enjoy my tutorial videos, you might be interested in becoming a supporter or an early access member on my Buy Me a Coffee page. My tutorials often come with tabs or a chord sheet, and the chord sheet includes the lyrics with the chords over them and chord diagrams. These are available to all of my one-time supporters, including this tutorial. If you support me one time for $3, you become a supporter, meaning all of the supporter posts on my Buy Me a Coffee page from the past and into the future will be accessible to you when my tutorial videos go public. That's tabs, chord sheets, and extra lessons. If you want my content earlier than anyone else, you can become an early access member. It's $5 a month and not only includes early access to my content, but also free downloads and free tabs of my original music as well. All the support I receive on Buy Me a Coffee goes toward making great content for you guys. If any of that interests you, just click the link to my Buy Me a Coffee page in the description below. Thanks.
Okay, so the chords here are basically for ease sake, and that's part of the reason why I chose E flat tuning. I don't know if he's in E flat tuning. In the recording it kind of sounds like he is, but I'm not really sure. But I hear Ryan shifting chords pretty easily. It doesn't really seem like he's making any kind of complicated chords or anything like that. So what we're going to do here is we're playing the song with A-shaped bar chords, and they're going to be played like power chords. And so what I mean by that is that we're basically going to focus on the top three strings of the chord that we're making. And if you guys know that a power chord is basically the root note and then the fifth, it leaves out the third. So that's kind of what we're going to be focusing on, because it sounds like when you listen back to the recording and you play these chords, it sounds like that's what Ryan's doing. And so here are the chords. So it's E flat, and where I am is my first finger is basically on the 7th fret, 5th string, and then the rest of my ring finger is resting 2 frets up, basically on the 9th fret, and on the 4th and the 3rd. That's primarily where you're going to be focusing. But because this is an E flat chord, you can include this bass note because it's already tuned to E flat. So on this chord, you can technically focus on the top 4 strings, but this would be the only chord that you would do that in this tutorial. So E flat, and then we're going to move down the fretboard 3 frets, 1, 2, 3, and you're not going to change your fingering at all. You're just going to move down the fretboard 3 frets. And your first finger is going to be on the 4th fret, and then your ring finger is going to be on the 6th fret. So, and again, you're primarily focusing on the top 3 strings, and this is a C5. So E flat, C5, and don't hit this string. Mainly focus on that 5th string as your bass note. So it goes C5, and then you're going to move up 1 string. You're not gonna move your fingers from this fretting position at all. You're just gonna move up one string each, and this is gonna be a G5. So C5, G5, then B flat, and notice I came down again where my first finger is on the 5th fret, or is on the 5th string, and it's on the 2nd fret, and then my ring finger is on the 4th fret, and it's primarily focusing on holding down the 4th and the 3rd strings. And you're only going to hit 5th, 4th, and 3rd. And that's a B flat. So B flat. Then we're going to go to 6th string. First finger's on the 6th string, and it's on the 5th fret. Ring finger is on the 7th fret, and you're primarily focusing on holding down the 5th and the 4th strings A flat chord. A flat. Then you're going to move down 2 frets. 1, 2. No, I'm sorry. You're going to move down 3 frets. You're not moving anything. You're just moving to a different fret. Your finger positions stay the same on the same strings. So this is A flat, and then you're going to move to the 2nd and the 4th frets. And that right there is an F5 chord. Okay, so now we're going to move to the E, back to the E, where the E position was, right here. And this time we're going to do a D over E. So whenever you play this chord, try to leave out this top, this 6th string, because you're going to want to focus on this D, because it's going to be a D over E. So really you're kind of hitting just those 2 strings. You're just hitting the 5th and the 4th string on this one. So it's a D over E. Because we're going to lead you back into that E during the song. The strumming pattern is all downstrokes. So you're going to hold on to this for 4 beats each chord. So that's the strumming pattern for 97% of the song. Until you get to the final chorus, and then the final chorus, the strumming pattern is a little bit different, but I'll talk about that when we get there. Okay, so the intro starts out, and it's E flat, and remember, the strumming pattern is super simple, it's all downstrokes. So the intro is E flat, C5, G5, and then B flat. And that leads you into the verse, which is, again, the exact same chord progression. So once you get to this B flat, there was a time when I would speak like I was there, under the light. And it just keeps going through that. E, C5, G5, B flat. So when you get to that B flat and you want to go into the pre-chorus, then you're going to move to an A flat. Okay? So it's, where is the peace that I once heard? To F5, follow grace. That's a C5. You're going to hang out on there for 8 beats. Okay? 8 beats. Then you're going to go back to your A flat. All of the holes within my heart separate, and now you're not going to the C5, you're going to the B flat ways. And from the B5 you're going to that D over E, and that leads you into the chorus. Through black stained glass, and it's the same as the verse. It's E flat, C5, G5, B flat. Through black stained glass, all my purities pale under the veil. And then it goes through that progression again until the end. Once you get to the end, where that B flat is, you're going into the 2nd verse, so you're just going back to that E flat. And you sing the verse just like we've already learned. And you go through the pre-chorus, just like we already learned. And you go through the chorus again, just like we've already learned. Except when you get to the 2nd chorus, the ending of the 2nd chorus is a little bit different. You do go E flat, C5, G5, B flat. But after that B flat, you're not going into another verse, you're going into the break. So when you go into the break, after that B flat, you go to the C5. And I won't justify. So that's C5, B flat, E flat to A flat. So it's, and I won't just go back to the C5. For all deception, and this time, after this E flat, you're not going to the A flat, you're going to go to the G5. And then it goes back to C5, just like in the first lyric of the break. C5 to B flat to E flat and then to A flat. And then the last lyric line of the break goes C5, just like we've been doing, to B flat, and then to A flat, and then to D over E. Okay, so this is what that sounds like. Now this is the C5 leading into the last lyric of the break, okay? And for the wreck that I've become, and then that goes right back into the last chorus. And then the chord progression for the last chorus is the same. The progression is the same. The only thing that's changed is the strumming pattern. Without the chord voicings, it's so. Just like that. And the outro is exactly the same as the intro. It keeps doing that strumming pattern for the final chorus and fades out. It ends up back to the same steady downstroke quarter beats, 4 to a chord. And that's the song. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. I'll see you guys in another video. There was a time when I would speak like I was there.